evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Empire Network on Sports Con with the Con Man. I am your host, the Con Man, and I have with me one of my best friends, Mike Semio, and my special guest, Mr. Mike Myers II, NBA Commissioner. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. Now, for folks who don't know, I happened to scroll through Facebook and I saw Mike Myers and what he's doing with the NBA. Can you let our viewers know how that started, how it originated, and what you're doing now?
Yeah, the NBA started in 2017. A group of my really close Army buddies got together and decided that we wanted to have a postseason tournament for varsity military basketball. Angel Acevedo and Jason LaFasciano, and we were able to do that, and it was a great tournament at Fountain Fort Carson in Colorado Springs. And from there, we said, well, how can we take this to another level and impact a lot more teams in the spirit of resiliency and raising awareness for, the high level of suicides that are in the military. And so um, those two gentlemen decided, they would start uh, uh, looking for conferences and building conferences. And so out of that came, close to 50 teams before COVID.
Wow.
COVID hit, but we've had four successful military basketball finals, and we're doing our fifth one here in Wichita, Kansas, and I'm really excited. And we impact a lot of people, and it's really great, really fun. So Jason and Ace are my close guys, and then followed by our president of basketball operations, Coach Albert Mayon. So all of these guys are really retired veterans that want to do good in the basketball community through military basketball, and it's really fun and exciting, and they're doing a lot of great things.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you for your services to keep us doing what we do. You know what I mean? So I definitely appreciate it because, we all have role models of athletes, but people like yourself, there should be our role models, not so much the athletes. So I want to thank you for your service. It's
No,
an
thank you. Sports unites us. And I tell a lot of people that sports is one of the things that brings us all together. You don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican or black, white, or whatever. Sports is what keeps us united. It's what's broken down a lot of barriers, and that's what we hope to do with some of these stigmas that happen in behavioral health.
Now, Mike, I want you to meet my good friend, Mike Samuel. You know him. Watch. He's fantastic. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
Michael, let's lower the bar a little bit, okay? Mike, it's nice to meet you. I did when I was doing some research on some of the things that you were involved in, and some of the issues that are kind of hitting home with me a little bit is, aside from the basketball stuff, which I love, is you're helping servicemen and women coming back with PTSD, and how does that actually come into play? That's something is from your past, and
Yeah,
you can walk through that as far as the behavioral health side. I'm very interested in that.
Oh,
yeah, I deployed with 1-5 Cav Black Knights, in 2007. We had a really tough deployment. You ask anyone who served in that unit, it was the greatest time of my life, but it was also a time where, I suffered a lot of trauma from some of the things that I was saw over there. And so I bottled that up for about 5 years. And then I started coaching. I think I coached my first military basketball game against Angel Acevedo when he was coaching at Fort Carson. And I realized that I was making an impact with just the group of veterans that I was, and the team that I was coaching. And so from there, I realized that I like this thing that we're doing with coaching. I've been coaching for a while, since '97, but military basketball was a little different. And so I got a chance to see how we could impact the team with through social media, and I went on to coach some other teams, got a chance to win a couple national championships. And, once you get to a certain level of coaching, you want to start providing those opportunities for other people, and so coaching is really, really something that really brings people together. It's an engagement point and opportunity. And so what I realized was that when we are engaging people through the coaching mechanism, soldiers or service members, it's easier for them to talk about some of the things that they've experienced overseas. And so, it's a great opportunity. And so the NBA as an organization, through our events, provides awareness, and it gives our coaches something to keep service members engaged, so that they don't have to think about some of the things that they've gone through. But it's also a link. We can link them to services, so that when they have an opportunity to play basketball, they're not really thinking about some of those harmful behaviors that are out there,
Yeah.
with substance abuse and
True.
even,
True.
suicide and harming themselves.
Now, Mike, let me ask you a question. What were the trials and tribulations of you starting up this MBA?
Wow, trials and tribulations to start in the NBA. Well, first and foremost, everybody deals with funding. That's obviously one of the biggest things. And so, this is a nonprofit organization. So funding is, a lot of times our coaches, they're the ones that are making the NBA go. They really, really, really come out of pocket for a lot of the travel expenses. The athletes also come out of pocket for travel expenses. And so what we've tried to do is grow the platform. So, there's obviously been a financial crunch, but when you talk about, 3 conferences, and at the height before COVID, we had, close to 55 teams. That's a big monster,
Yeah.
and so getting all of them to compete and play for one prize, which is, the championship for military basketball, varsity level, pure installation basketball. That's a challenge, and but we've met it, and we've had our growing pains, and we feel like we're about to turn a huge corner here in 2023.
Now, before I let my man Mike, I have to ask you a question. You are so humble. Let the viewers know your background.
Which one, in military or coaching?
Both.
Oh, both. Well, I
That's
was
how I
an
know.
enlisted.
Hey, I'm the Conn. That's how I know.
I was, so both. Coaching wise, I won my first championship in New Orleans in 1997, coach of the year. And then I joined the military in 1999. Got a chance to, be an administrative, personnel administrative specialist, 75 Bravo for those out there who are military. Did that for about 3 years, and then I transitioned over to become an officer. I commissioned in 2005, and I ended up deploying in 2006. So that's kind of amazing. 1 year after commissioning, I deployed for the surge in Iraq. I did 66 combat missions.
Wow.
Those were convoys. Saw a lot of things. Saw, combat action badge, award. So I was in a real tough spot, but in 2011, I started coaching the Fort Riley basketball team. They're a great program. In 2015 or 14, I went to Korea, won every military tournament in Korea. That was over there from 2013 to 2014. 2015 came back to Fort Hood, won 2 back-to-back national championships with Fort Hood. And then I won a silver medal with the All-Army women's basketball team in 2017. 2019 came back and won the gold medal. Didn't get a chance to go to China for the games in Wuhan, but that team that I coached, and I was selected to coach the Team USA Armed Forces. But Paul Parker was able to go over there as I had to deal with a family situation. They won a bronze medal, which was great. So, a lot of people, don't know my background. I don't really talk too much about it, other than the fact that if you ask me for, hints on resume, no problem. I'll tell you that. Um, and I was also privileged to meet, some Hall of Fame coaches like Larry Brown, Rick Barnes, um, Shaka Smart, John Thompson Jr., who unfortunately passed away a few years back, but and had I've just really, really, really had an opportunity with military basketball to meet some great people, and kind of pull from them a lot of their ideology and philosophy, and even some stories, which are pretty cool.
And Mike, I'm a little disappointed in you because you failed to mention my cousin, my boy, Pat Ewing.
Oh yeah, Patrick Ewing, man. He's that's kind of a good news story, and he's first of all, Patrick Ewing supports military basketball. On two occasions, we went to Georgetown University. I took the Central All-Star team there in 2017, and then I also took my All-Army women's team there in 2017. Great coach. You don't just go up into Georgetown, and they told me that they love what we're doing. They love what the NBA is doing, and they said we don't just let anybody in Georgetown. And I was able to get out there and be really quiet, observe a practice, and then to my surprise, up walks John Thompson Jr., who greets all the women, shakes all their hands. And then, we went down on the court after practice and had some one-on-one time with Pat Ewing. So great guy. I know he's, taking a lot of heat for Georgetown and the record and all that stuff, but he's a great human being, original dream team person. And I love him to death. And there's nothing that anyone can tell me about Georgetown University, their staff. They're completely awesome.
All right, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Do your thing, my brother.
So, one of the cool things about podcasts and social media is Mike, I had no idea about the NBA. I had no idea about it.
Sure.
My friend Michael Consaccio made the introduction. So in kind of digging into all of this, what does the future look like for you? And what does the future look like for the league?
Wow. So the league, that's a great question. I love it. Jason always, says, you're really good at, with the gift of gab, but we're really excited about the NBA. I mean, we're talking to some really great folks in the live stream platform arena. So we're really, really super excited about that. The NBA Finals is going to be in Wichita, Kansas. We've secured Koch Arena, Charles Koch Arena, the home of the Wichita State Shockers. That place holds like 10,000 400 people, and we've got this fan development plan that we're really excited about to pack the house. So whoever those two remaining teams are for the championship game, they're going to play in front of a crowd, and that's going to raise the stakes for what we're doing. But this will be the second time that we've had a 24-team tournament for men that will be at the Wichita Hoops Center, and so that's what we pride ourselves in with the NBA. We're able to do 47 games over a 3-day period on 6 courts, stop clock with shot clock. No one can. We do this, and we're amazingly good at it. And I don't want to say me. I mean, we have the best tournament director in the business, who's got a format that's amazing. Coach Albers, he's a legendary coach. I mean, you talk about my background. Coach Albers' background is amazing. We have a president of basketball operations that really, really hones in and gets the coaches informed and keeps them informed. So with Al Mayon, so we're excited about where we're going, but we're also looking to duplicate our events with support from a lot of sponsorships and a lot of people moving forward. So that's the goal, is to just really expose the military athlete, show everyone in the world that, yes, there are Steph Currys out there, there are LeBron Jameses, there's all these different folks, but then there's people, like Darian Donald from Luke Air Force Base, who is an airman, plays at a phenomenal level, and then puts the uniform on Monday when he's finished playing basketball on the weekend. That's a true hero to me. Paris Daniel, his coach at Luke Air Force Base, retired Air Force, you know, he is a amazing coach, former champion. When he, coaches these guys and preps them for events like the ones that are going to happen in Wichita, Kansas, what he's saying is, he's not done serving. He's a veteran for life, and he is really, really, really honed in on getting these young men to play basketball at a high level. But then he's influential in their lives off the court as he mentors them to be, great airmen and great service members.
Now, Mike, the reason why I really wanted you on the show is because I want to help you raise some funds. Let people know how they can contact you or how they can contribute to what you all are doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So another thing what's great is, the NBA has reformatted its strategic plans and design. So we have a business development team led by Darnell Burton and Tommy Amal and those guys. But you can go to our website, which is mymbaglobal.com. mymbaglobal.com. There's a donate button right there if you want to just truly put in a small donation. But for the things that we're doing when we're talking about marketability and sponsorships and stuff like that, you can contact me directly, 254-368-1180. That's my cell, or you can send me an email at commissioner@mymbaglobal.com. And so those are the best ways to get a hold of us. We'll have we can connect with you virtually. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. The NBA is doing great things. I mean, we got rankings. These teams are out there doing amazing stuff. We've got rankings from 1 to 20. So just think about that. That's 20 military installations that are on the map, getting ranked, and playing for a path to play in one of the greatest stages that we've ever had in military basketball.
Mike, before I let my man come in, I am so proud of what you're doing. I mean, it's amazing, and it's my duty, I feel, to see what I can do to help you out. And we're going to do the damn thing. We will do it. Mike, go ahead, bro.
So, Mike, when you were talking about exposure, is there going to be any opportunities where people can actually see these events? Are you planning on streaming this? Do you have access to any?
So the answer is yes. So we absolutely will be streaming the event. What we don't know right now is what platform we're going to be streaming on. And so we've had some absolutely great conversations with some folks in the media industry that we feel confident about. But we've always live streamed the events. I have a guy named Jim Bly, who is a amazing live stream producer. He's produced at least 2 or 3 NBA events, and is really the reason why, I say live streaming, and I've kind of maybe taken it to the next level. But the original live streamer is Jason LaFasciano, great guy, Italian guy, out of Brooklyn, and New York guy, and I really feel really proud of his work with the live streaming. He introduced me to Jim Bly, and so we've done great. And here's the thing: in our first weekend, we had about 8,000 views.
Ooh.
When we held the event at the Air Force Academy, we're just talking, views on Facebook and clicks and likes and such. We got up to 29,000 views. Then in the next, in 2021, when we had Wounded Warrior Project and Talkspace and all those folks that were coming on board as sponsors, we were over 50,000. And so 2022, same thing. We're at 50,000 plus. And just to give you an idea about how excited people are about the NBA, we released a flyer for who the All-Star team selections were going to be. And in less than 24 hours, the flyer, which was like a PowerPoint slide that I put together with the names on it, That flyer had 15,000 views in less than 24 hours. So the demand for military sports and military basketball is out there. Highlighting these athletes and highlighting these coaches is an amazing thing that we're really proud that we're doing, and it's about them. And so, you know, the last thing I'll tell you is this, because I see it's Mike, and Mike.
Yes, sir.
I just noticed that. What I'll tell you is this: in the last 5 years that we've been doing this, no coaches, to me, in my knowledge, none of them have reported any harmful behaviors for some of their players. We haven't seen any suicides within folks that are participating in the NBA. No suicidal allegations. And so this is about having fun. This is an outlet for service members and veterans, and we're proud of it. And we're looking forward to really expanding it and live streaming it and saying, hey, look, there's this thing that you can do. And if you're feeling bad, maybe you're not playing. Maybe you just want to come out and watch and support your team. But that gets you out of, it's a connecting point for you to do something else other than thinking about either harming yourself or, just depression and things that you don't want to necessarily think about. So it's fun. It's fun.
Go ahead, Mike. Chime in, my brother.
Well, so one of the things I was just thinking of while you were talking, Mike, do you have any plans, or do you engage with any sort of charity functions where you pull a bunch of guys together and go play in an event or set up at a particular event throughout the country? Is that something you guys entertain?
Yes, we do. So one of the things that's great about the NBA is we like 4-day weekends. So no, I mean, it's true. So,
Yeah.
so the way our season typically starts is, the Atlanta Military Classic down in Atlanta at Lake Point Champion. That'll happen this year during Columbus Day weekend. And so the plan for us is to maximize that and make it, maybe not as big as the NBA Finals, which is the biggest thing that we do, but to engage with recruiting, retention, and resiliency. Those are our big 3 R's for the NBA. We want to help where we can with recruiting efforts around the country to whatever service you want to be a part of. If you want to join the Army or the Air Force, we want to make sure that we're bringing those types of leads and that type of interest to the recruiters. And so that's one of the conversations that we're having that's ongoing. The resiliency piece is so critical because every city, every time we do an event, it's not a basketball event. Every time we do an event, it is a resiliency event. It's a resiliency activity. These things that we're doing are to enhance spiritual fitness. That is very, very critical. Most of our events are around Army resiliency centers around the country. We're proud of that. Most of our teams, if you look at the way our teams are overlaid on a map, they're near places where we can link you to get some type of support and service that you need. So those are the conversations we're having when it comes to resiliency. Retention, that's easy. If you're in the service, you can play in the NBA. That's the bottom line. You have to have an ID card. So this is for military service members, dependents, and veterans. And so we're proud of that. And so as to answer your question, absolutely. We want to do charity events and stuff like that. I'd love to do something with the National Basketball Association. I'd love to do something with wheelchair. We did our first wheelchair adaptive sports activity during Veterans Day last year, and that was amazing. I mean, you had soldiers from the Soldier Recovery Unit play an Air Force versus Army game in wheelchairs. And they are incredible. I mean, some of them were, I learned a new term, which is able-bodied. What we do is able-bodied basketball. What someone who is injured or wounded does is an adaptive sports measure, an adaptive sports activity like wheelchair basketball. And we can't, the game unites us. It doesn't matter if you can't play it the same way, it's still the game.
And Mike, we have a little history with First Formation, that great show with Amir.
Yes, yes.
He's watching right now. So that's how I got kind of in touch with you as well. And I found out that, man, you guys are so great and what you've done uh, to help your services and everything to help us do what we do. And I'm so proud of you guys. And uh, I'm at a loss for words right now, but I'm gonna
I
do
would
everything.
just tell you, I would tell you this, Michael. Um, I have a lot. That formation, that show that you were on in First Formation.
Yes.
I like the fact that you have respect for the game, and you have a lot of knowledge about the game of basketball.
Thank you.
And so the pictures that you send, the posts that you have that are out there, I see every last one of them, and I read every
Thank you.
last one of them because I'm like a sponge. I want to know. And as a kid growing up, it's like, man, I never knew about this person, I never knew about that person, and you have that. You keep reminding all of us that um, every generation is exposed to the game, not just one. And so I really appreciate that, and that's why I think you're a basketball connoisseur. And Mike, sorry about I just saw your friend request, and I was like, oh man, I was like, he's a cool guy. I need to accept that.
He is. He is. He really is.
But it's just and you guys are you guys out of Boston?
New Bedford and Fairhaven.
Oh, see, that's right. So you guys are Celtics fans, and I'm a Laker fan. So but it's all good.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But
so we're gonna hit every nerve now with the trading deadline, which just passed.
Yeah, it's still going on, man.
Oh, man. Oh, so it's back to me. So I'm gonna go kind of deep here. What is the wish list, Michael? What is the what if for you? What is it if it all lands perfect? What does it look like for you?
For us, so without giving away too much of our strategic, objectives, I would tell you the NBA is looking to raise, between $3 to $5 million a year for basketball. And that's just being completely real and honest. I mean, I just had a team call with our team today. Kind of executive level guys, and we've been at this for some of us have been at this for a decade, right? And then just coaching military basketball. Me, a couple others, since 2010. And what we've seen now is, what we don't want is when funds are low, people get a little discouraged and disheartened. And so, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. It takes about $3 to $5 million to do this the right way. And when I say the right way, I'm saying, hey, look, we're live streaming. Guys are on the road, and their travel is covered. They have uniforms, they have basketballs to do this. And we're not talking about readiness and taking away from people who are these guys protect us. So obviously that's important, right? But when they're not working, they need an outlet, and so they have one. They play basketball, right? And so what we'd like to do is say, all right, you're playing basketball, but now you're playing for more than just basketball, right? You're playing to help somebody who's watching you understand that there's no stigma. If you need help, you can come to a basketball game and someone can help you, or we can connect you to someone that can help you. And so we're really, really, really excited about that. But it takes money to do that. It takes money. So if the money's not coming from, traditional sources, then let's go out in the commercial market. Let's market it. Let's put it on television. Let's get the Nikes. Let's get the Under Armours. Let's get people behind it so that so we can keep this going. It's a great message. These are people who are disciplined, and they also have an opportunity to play a higher level basketball. Robert Chapman is playing college basketball right now. 2 years ago, he was playing in the NBA Finals, right? He was playing with us. He was an Air Force. This is an Air Force player who completed his enlistment time, and now he's playing college basketball. Brian Baptiste, another one, great Marine, Awesome player. Definitely was on the wrong end of a loss from him, right? And he plays for St. Catherine's, right? They picked him up. He's a great basketball player, former MVP of our league. So it's not just it's bigger than basketball, because now, are they playing basketball at St. Catherine's, or are they playing basketball at where Robert Chapman's playing in Oklahoma? Sure, but what else are they getting? They're getting their education. They're getting their education, and so that's a two-headed dream. They're able to get what they need, fulfill their dreams, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them for that.
Mike, I am so impressed with what you're doing. I have a very good friend of mine. His name is Rick Reese, and he raises billions to help programs such as what you're doing. And after the show, I'm gonna hook up with you, and I feel so positive about what can happen. So you can see I'm having a hard time with words, but we're gonna make this work, my brother.
Oh man, I hope so, and you know, I'm really grateful for you giving me this platform. I really am. I really appreciate it. I follow your show. I follow First Formation, and I love it. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike. Hit it up.
Well, Mike would not expose some of the strategic stuff, but I was really curious about that, because I had my mind running this afternoon over how do you actually get this out into the public's hands? How do you expose this well enough and get the message out there? So I'm not going to go there, but I thought that was something that was interesting, the way you were talking about partnering with some big corporations and getting out there.
Absolutely. And when I say strategic stuff, I mean, we have plans
Mm-hmm.
that span. I sat down this summer with a great gentleman who really coached and helped me, and I'm not a dummy. I've done some things in the military with MDMP and course of action development and stuff like that. But what I was able to do with Darnell was really look at the NBA from a strategic lens and say, hey, you know what, we've been going about this probably a little bit wrong. Maybe we've been scaling it a little bit too small, and now we're thinking big. And so we've got to do things that go beyond basketball. So yes, we're looking to partner. I mean, if I can do a whole bunch of these, if one of these is, if I'm doing a podcast and I'm on CNN and I'm talking about, I can talk about myself, and all of the credentials and things that I have, but I'd rather talk about a guy, like Dave Anderson, who's out at Camp Pendleton, has been coaching them for the last 4 or 5 years, has been one of the winningest basketball coaches in at least the last 4 or 5 years in the Marine Corps, and has been in our NBA Finals championship game twice. I'd rather talk about him, the backpack drive that he does out in California, the things that he does within his community. So, he goes beyond basketball and does a lot for the community. And so, it could be about me, it could be about the commissioner, or it could be about guys like Dave and Paris and Coach Mayon and Coach Ace down at Fort Benning. Those are the guys that are making this thing, happen. Coach Snow out in Fort Worth. I love what these guys are doing. And the reason I'm pushing so hard on the business side of the house and strategically is because they're in the trenches right now. They're not getting paid. They have very little funding. And so, the people that are with us right now are the ones that I'm going to really, really be trying to help when we do land a lot and close a lot of the things that we have going on right now.
It sounds like you have a number of leverage points, that you can actually access and move that forward, move that message forward. And it sounds like it's right there.
It's so close.
Yeah, I get that sense when you're talking about the different people that are involved all over the country, and then you have this subset of other activities that those particular people are involved in that needs to be exposed further and enlarged, right? Actually, to bring your message forward, I think.
Yeah, and part of our strategic plan and our program portfolio is like Project CTS, right? Project Change the Stigma. That is something that is really critical to us, because you know if you tell someone in today's society that you have post-traumatic stress, they look at you and they're like, "Oh my God, what do I do? I don't know how to." And you're a veteran, they think that it's like some disease, and it really isn't. We don't call it post-traumatic stress disorder. We call it post-traumatic stress injury. And the reason we call it that is because, when I went over to Baghdad, I saw something, or saw a lot of things that injured my mind. So I'm injured. I don't have a disorder. I function fairly well. I had some trouble adjusting when I got back home. That happens when you leave, your 5-year-old to go to war, and it's a tough thing to grip with. Or, unfortunately, like, in my unit when I was deployed, we lost 7 guys in one day. When you lose people, and they were with you one day, and you were eating with them, and then the next day they're gone. That's trauma. And so, my choice to deal with trauma is to coach basketball. And that's the thing that I've always wanted to do. And it's been hard. Sometimes people don't want you to coach. But now it's about, really, really trying to get out there and take what worked for me, and apply it to so many other people, to not to just thousands, but to millions, right? And we're global. There are teams in Germany trying to come to Wichita, Kansas. They're trying to compete, military teams in Germany. So this is not about basketball. This is a movement. This is a
And Mike,
movement to change the stigma.
and Mike, that's why I want you on my show, because it's not about basketball. There are more important things than just basketball. And what
Right.
you're doing, and the NBA is so crucial, because I never went to the military. I never went there. I was very fortunate to, have a scholarship to go play basketball and do what I do. And I have so much respect for what you guys do and what you represent. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help you guys out, because I feel it's important. And
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Mike.
my man Mike's very quiet, but he's good. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm just Michael. I'm listening. So one of the things that I kind of stumbled across, this is a little bit personal for me, and I mentioned this to Michael Consatio the other day, that through some just weird happenstance, I bumped into a player that I used to play with back in the 70s and 80s, and his name is Timmy O'Shea.
Okay.
And he's now the head coach over at the Naval Preparatory School in Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay.
So, not that there's any connection there, but I thought it was interesting that Michael had brought up your name, and I bumped into Timmy just by accident. I sort of lost track of where he was. He was coaching at my alma mater at Bryant in Rhode Island for a bunch of years while that school was going through a transition. It was interesting that he's now there. I don't know if Timmy can help as far as anything, but Timmy's a really good guy. Was a great high school player and a great college player. Really good coach. Coached at a number of different places through, from Ohio University. He was assistant at Yale and head coach at Bryant for 10 years. So I'll make that connection between you and he, if you're okay with that. And I think
no, that's fine.
The more we
Please.
expose your message, I think that the better off all of it will be.
Yeah, no, I am. I've been told I have to have about 8 to 10 meetings a week, which I'm having about 8 to 10 meetings a week. I'm putting my head, really just charging forward and barreling forward with as many connections and contacts that I can make, because this is a critical moment. I think there is a fierce urgency of now when it comes to veterans behavioral health. I don't think we can wait. I think that it's super important when you talk about 22 people harming themselves or taking their lives a day. You know, it seems like it's not a lot, but that's 8,000 people a year. That's 8,000 people a year, over 8,000 people. And so, you know, whatever we can do, we should do it. You know, and that's what I'm willing to do. That's why I don't get any sleep. I talk to coaches in Germany. I talk to coaches in Korea, and I talk to coaches on both coasts. And so I get about 4 hours of sleep every night, and I will sleep when the NBA is at a point where we've made 3 to 5 million a year, and we can start looking at the next thing. And that's what keeps me going. It's what's driving me.
Well, Mike, let me tell you right now, I've done over 200 sports shows. This one is my most meaningful right now with you, my brother, because it has more of an impact than sports celebrities, whatever. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing means so much to me, and I'm going to do my best to help you out, my brother.
Thank you so much. And you've had some really good guests on your show.
Yeah,
So listen,
I'm
I am, and when I say this on behalf of myself, my deputy commissioner, Angel Acevedo, and Jason LaFasciano, and our president of basketball operations, Albert Mayon, we are extremely honored to have this opportunity to be on your show. And Michael, I appreciate you and your questions as well. I'm just grateful, really, really humbled. And I was like, I'm not going to miss this show. I was driving all day. I was like, I'm not going to miss this show.
I appreciate it so much. Mike, you got anything to add, Mike?
No, I don't actually. I was just actually kind of looking forward to the future and what that looks like for Mike and his group of people, that and that message he's trying to deliver, which is, as you mentioned, Mike, it's a huge message, and it just needs to be. It needs those opportunities to have it expressed further and driven further out. And so
Yes.
I look forward to all that.
Yeah,
Mike,
no, absolutely.
Mike, can you do me a favor? Let the viewers know what your mission is and what do you want to accomplish and how can they help? Because I guarantee a lot of people watching this, my brother. So do your thing.
Okay, so the NBA's mission is to plan, coordinate, and execute military basketball in military basketball communities around the world in an effort to promote the resiliency and spiritual fitness of its athletes and of all athletes and all veterans and all service members. Our vision is to partner with those installations, communities, businesses, sports figures, apparel companies, and brands in an effort to promote the awareness message of veterans' behavioral health, post-traumatic stress injuries, to prevent veteran suicides. The best way to help us is you can go to mynbaglobal.com. You can click the donate button there. It will take you to a screen and you can donate, whatever amount is necessary. But then for brand awareness and for serious investment and sponsorship opportunities with the NBA, you can contact me directly, 254-368-1180, or you can reach us at commissioner@mynbaglobal.com. commissioner@mynbaglobal.com. That's the best way to get the conversation started about what you want to do, what you'd like, what your designs are, because there's a lot of opportunity. As we start talking about putting this on live stream platforms and such, the opportunities for your brand to be partnered with a theme like this are incredibly apparent and out there and reasonable. And so we're just really looking forward to partnering with anyone who wants to share that message and that theme of changing the stigma and preventing some of these harmful behaviors with service members.
One more question, Mike. As far as suicide, how do y'all relate to that? I mean, do you experience that a lot as far as suicide is concerned?
Sadly, yeah. Unfortunately, and that's another reason, another driving force behind what I do. I mean, the suicide rate is so, just about every military member has been touched by someone they've known with suicide. And so, everyone's like, well, I never knew and I should have known. And did you ask the questions and such? But really what we're trying to do is create an atmosphere to where you don't feel alone. You feel comfortable talking to someone about it. If you feel like you're going to harm yourself, the NBA needs to be a beacon to say, "Hey, you don't have to do that. You can come to a basketball game. You can talk. You can reach us on our website. You can call the hotlines that are out there. We can connect you to people. There's Military One Source. There's so many resources out there for people uh, that need assistance and need help. There's no reason why we should lose one person a day. And so that's the ultimate goal. If we can, but the reality is that there's some things that we need to do to be more preventive. And the way you be preventive is, you know, we encourage the atmosphere. We encourage spiritual fitness and sports as a mechanism to keep people a part of a team. Think about it. When most people when they commit suicide or they have a harmful behavior practice, they're by themselves. I say this all the time. The NBA, if you're a part of the NBA, you're a part of a team. If you're a part of a team, you're a part of a family. That is life through basketball.
Whew. Damn. Mike, that was a great message, my brother, man. Mike, go ahead. Mike, go ahead. Hit him up with something because I got to take a break. Go ahead, Mike. Hit him up with something. Hit him up with something.
Along with that, which was, very tough to hear, Mike. So,
yeah.
Any plans or, through your strategy to connect with some of the large healthcare organizations in the United States or in the world?
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking of, locally, Mass General, I'm thinking Cleveland Clinic, those size facilities, right, that have the capacity to help you, to actually, help you with what you're trying to deliver.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So my wife, Linda, is an amazing person. I told her to be quiet, but she's probably in there doing her thing. So she's very, very this is something very close to her heart. And when I say that, I say, she's got her master's degree in psychology, right? But her degree is very, very unique. Her degree is in psychometry, which is testing and assessment, right? And so what I've asked her to do is, hey, I need you to take a look, how are we impacting the quality of life at our events? So that's where we want to partner with the health services organizations that want to do this. We need a research study. We need them to come in and sample, our athletes and some of our folks, our players, and say, hey, is this good? Is sports making things better? I mean, it has to be, because we haven't. To date, none of the coaches have reported any type of behavioral health challenges that our guys have had. No suicides, no suicide ideations. So I say that to the extent of there's a research development opportunity for folks to get involved with our events, to sample, test, randomly, our athletes, to say, hey, is this working? And if that works, then that's a tool that the VA can use to say, hey, maybe this basketball thing, this sports thing, maybe this is something we should take a look at, and maybe this is something that we need to invest in and potentially use as a mechanism to help a lot of veterans. There's 22 million veterans in this country. 22 million people raised their hand and said, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And many of them have deployed. 75% of people asked if they've been through some type of traumatic experience in 2021 in a survey after 9/11 said that they have. We got to do something. And so I'm doing my part. We have an amazing organization. We touch, about 31 installations right now with volunteer basketball, and we're trying to grow. And so I'm really excited about it. And you know, yeah, that's our message. We want to change the world. We want to change the stigma.
Anything else you want to add, Mike, before I hit him up with something? Go ahead.
Well, before we go long, I'd like to talk about the Lakers a little bit to kind of lighten the conversation a bit.
We can go there. You want to go there? We can go there.
I hope you guys haven't been looking at my timeline.
I did a little bit today, and I wasn't, and I'm not sure where you land on LeBron on this. I'm a little confused.
Okay, so I will be, so for the record and on the Conn Man show, I will say this right now for the record. Okay, LeBron James is an amazing talent, amazing athlete, great, phenomenal athlete, great player. His accomplishment, you know, the other night was, you know, phenomenal to surpass Kareem, a record that was almost untouchable for 40 years. That is outstanding. That's amazing. But I am a basketball connoisseur. Okay. And, you know, people in this generation want to debate with me about what greatness is. And the closest thing I've seen to greatness to MJ, Michael Jordan, was Kobe Bryant. So when we talk about work ethic and we talk about, you know, the odds being stacked against you, I mean, you think about, you know, I'm trying to change the stigma in post-traumatic stress, right? I'm trying to do that. That's hard, right? Kobe lost Shaq, and he lost, basically, they had to completely rebuild the team, and he ended up winning the championship in spite of. And so, twice. So I am on the side of, you know, LeBron James is a top 5 all-time NBA basketball player, but he's just not my top 5. He's not my GOAT. He's not my greatest of all time. And as a society, we just have to kind of let that go. You're not going to convert me. I'm not going to convert the Conn Man. You know, he's probably got Larry Bird up there really high, right? No.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna keep it real with you, right? And I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar heard my words. Check this out. He was on last night, and he said, "Who the GOAT is who can do more off the court than on the court." So I come from the old school. Who can contribute more off the court, like Oscar Robertson? I can go on and on. To me, I compare everything. I compare on the court and off the court. And that's how I view the GOAT. And what impact have they made? That's how I view basketball players.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I should have said this before, LeBron James is the greatest ambassador for social justice and for the things that impact our society since Muhammad Ali. He's the greatest in my generation. There has been no athlete in the history of our game since you got to go back to the 70s with Muhammad Ali, who has taken a stand for social justice, has come out and said things that are wrong, has said things that are right. And so if I ever met LeBron James, right? If I ever got the opportunity to meet LeBron James, I would never talk to him about basketball because he wouldn't convert me himself. I loved Kobe Bryant, right? But if we talk about the stance he took with George Floyd, the stance he takes for police reform, the things that he does for schools and education for people in urban America, he is the greatest of all times. He's, in my opinion, he's done more than Muhammad Ali, but it's a different time. The things that Muhammad Ali did were necessary for civil rights. The things that LeBron James is doing are vital to us moving forward as a society and as a people.
And Mike, let me tell you something real quick. On that table was Kareem, our center back then, Jim Brown,
Bill
Russell. You know what I'm talking about. And guess what?
Yeah, I saw it.
Have you ever seen anyone have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on their team as a coach? Think about it. Why not? I'll tell you why not. Because he took a stand and that he paid the price. But anyway, we only got like 3 minutes left, my brother. But
Sure,
I just
sure.
want to make sure. What do you think about your Lakers, man, and the trades and stuff? I mean,
I
D'Angelo
think,
Russell.
you know, I think they'll be fine. You know, the Lakers. You know, the biggest problem with the Lakers is you know, the front office. You
Yes.
know, and people wanting to go there and play. It's not the same. You know, when Jenny Buss was, you know, they're just not the same. It's not the same. Or I tell you, what's going to turn a lot of heads is that KD trade. You know, down
Ooh.
in Phoenix. That is a problem. That's a
Yes.
problem.
A major
And
problem.
that's a big problem. I don't even know. You know, the NBA came in and they nixed Dwight Howard and Chris Paul coming to the Lakers. I don't know how the NBA doesn't get involved with this and say, hey, you know, that might be a little too much. But
Good point.
I think I'm a Laker fan. I'm a Laker fan for life. But they're going to have to do a little bit more to get me to watch games again, because I haven't even watched a Laker game since Kobe.
Mike, have you ever heard of Dr. J?
I have. I love him.
Well, the guy right next to you over there, he's the one that brought Dr. J to New Bedford. His father brought Dr. J to New Bedford, and I got the experience to play against him. He'll tell you. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable. He knows.
So to summarize this as quickly as I can, we have a minute.
Yeah, we got about a minute.
So way back when, middle 70s, right before the merger, my dad was developing a sports marketing group, and a bunch of guys decided to throw some money in, and Irving was more than willing to come down and do a clinic in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and was held at one of the larger high schools in the area. Mm-hmm. So away from that whole thing, right? This is where Michael Consatio and I connect on this, right? So my dad is the one who is behind all this and bringing to the area, and the impact that it had on Mr. Consatio was surprising to me, and I'm talking about it more than Michael does now, that he carries that with him, that how it impacted him and how he was introduced to him, being able to play against him. And then Michael wrote an article about it, right? Michael felt so strongly about that interaction and that particular night that he wrote an article that showed up in our local papers, and Michael talks about that all the time. And it's pretty cool. And I've expressed this to my dad, and I just talked about this last week when Michael and I did a podcast together. You know, I've expressed that to my dad about having that impact for one person. And my father was completely stunned. That was not the intention, right? That was not where we were going with this, but that's a byproduct of that night. That's the byproduct of Julius Erving having an impact on someone. So you're talking about Kobe, right? So that impact that particular man has had on a number of different areas, right? And the same thing with LeBron. How many people do you touch, right, Mike? How much is your message going to touch other people, right? That's the whole thing, right? That's sort of where everything is paralleling on our conversations tonight is how many people can you touch, and you never know who you impact. You just don't know.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you sharing that. And that Kobe is driving you. That Kobe Bryant is the reason why I put my head down and keep moving forward.
And Mike, I got to tell you a story. Kobe Bryant's dad came to New Bedford and coached a team called the Boston Frenzy. I got to tell you that story later on.
Okay.
Anyway, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Sports Empire Network on Sports Corner with the Conn Man. I want to thank my man, Mike Semio, for being my sidekick, and my man, Mike Myers. I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You are welcome to come on anytime, whatever you're doing. Please let me know, and I will promote it as much as I possibly can. Thank you so much for coming on my show. God bless everyone. Have a great night. Take care. God bless. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Mike and Mike.